let's talk about the chart of Donald Trump. The first thing I want to point out is that Donald Trump has his ascendant at 29 degrees of Leo, conjunct fixed star Regulus. Regulus is one of the most important stars in astrology, and it's called the heart of the lion. So it imparts individuals with some form of wealth, nobility, success, fame, notoriety, or a lasting public legacy. The ascendant has much to do with the kind of life that we lead and the kind of person that we are. So Regulus at the ascendant is why he was born into an extraordinarily wealthy family. He became a well-known business tycoon. He has a media empire. And, of course, he's the president of the United States. I just want to say that this video is educational. It does not reflect my political opinions at all. If you go to his Wikipedia, you'll notice it says Trump has published 19 books under his name, most written or co-written by ghostwriters. This is where we start to see his Gemini Sun coming in, because Gemini does exactly that. Publishes books, creates scripts for TV shows, and is featured in media at large. Now let's put in Mars, which he has at 26 Leo, and you can see it forms a pretty close sextile to the Sun. If we go back to his Wikipedia, you'll see it says Trump had cameos in many films and television shows. There's the Leo. And Trump acquired his style of politics for professional wrestling with its staged fights and name-calling. You can see that in the temperament of his Mars in Leo, because it's exactly that. Staged fighting, name-calling, being obscene, and standing out at all costs. Plus, that Mars is conjunct Regulus and his ascendant, which is what makes him such a ridiculously self-assured person who can say and do anything, and some people love him and other people hate him, but the point is, he gets the attention at all costs, and he knows how to keep it. Now notice this part. He became the president of his family's real estate business in 1971, renamed it the Trump Organ, and began acquiring and building skyscrapers, hotels, casinos, and golf courses. Here is where we start to see his Venus-Saturn conjunction in the 11th house of Cancer. First of all, Cancer is the family business, but keep in mind that the family business is in building buildings. Shelters where people live and work. Venus is anything that we have that is valuable, and Saturn represents buildings and structures, while the 11th house is city life and the public. So you can see that this part here is why Donald Trump has such a massive real estate business, because he owns and builds many buildings in New York. That's the 11th house. Now look at what it says. From 2004 to 2015, he hosted the reality TV show The Apprentice, bolstering his fame as a billionaire. Now I have Trump's secondary progressions starting from 2004. And you'll notice that from 2004 forward, his progressed sun makes a sextile to his natal sun in Gemini. Here's where you can see him featuring prominently on The Apprentice for several years. Now, if I fast forward to 2015, look at what happens. The sun is about to leave Leo, and that was the last year that he did The Apprentice. But what happened in 2016 then? On his wiki, it says, presenting himself as a political outsider, Trump won the 2016 presidential election. And you can see that in 2016, the sun enters his first house, sits on his ascendant, and is also conjunct Regulus, which is what elevates him to the highest position one can possibly have, presidency of the United States of America. Now remember when we talked about the Venus-Saturn conjunction in his 11th house, and I attributed that to him being a big builder in New York City. Now I have the current transits. This is for today, October 24th, 2025. Notice the transiting Jupiter is conjunct his Venus and Saturn in Cancer. And now Donald Trump is building a ballroom for the White House. Venus, Saturn, a massive ballroom in the American people's house, Cancer. Now notice when it's about his family life, he had married Ivana and had 3 kids, got a divorce. Then he had an affair and married Marla. And then they divorced. and now he's married to Melania, and they have one son together. So here you can see Venus conjunct Saturn, he had several marriages. And again, all of those marriages were very public, the 11th house. Moreover, his businesses, even today, are primarily run by his family. So all of the assets are very close to him. So there's the Cancer portion. Here you can also see, in 1996, he purchased the Miss Universe pageants, including Miss USA and Miss Teen USA. And here we have again his Venus-Saturn conjunction in the 11th house. He's producing one of the biggest shows that judges women based on who's going to win Miss USA or Miss Teen USA. And we all know there's many allegations against him about sexual misconduct and abuse towards women throughout his entire career. And I'd like to once again emphasize the sextile between his Sun in the 10th house Gemini and his Mars in Leo on the ascendant conjunct Regulus, because we all see that he posts absolutely ridiculous stuff on social media and frequently. Here's the transits for the day that he posted a video of him in a fighter jet wearing a crown, shitting on the American protesters. You can see that Mercury is conjunct Scorpio in his 3rd house. Here's the poop flying down from the jet. And at the same time, the transiting Sun is making an almost exact sextile to his Mars in Leo. This was the day that people were protesting him for the No Kings rally. And there he was wearing a crown and posting it online. Keep in mind that Donald Trump was born on an exact lunar eclipse. And the eclipse happens in his 10th and 4th house, which is why he has a family business that is worldwide in media everywhere. And since New York is his home, it can be represented by the 4th house. And here we see the moon in Sagittarius raising skyscrapers and making many other buildings and business dealings in New York. Hence the expansive nature of Sagittarius. Eclipses don't mean the same thing for everyone, but they do connect different generations and storylines that span hundreds and hundreds of years. And that is why he is so closely involved with the karma of the entire planet.